Got a big rainbow on here, guys. Keep him below the surface. Fish on. That's what the Trout Tricks worm can do. Woo! White worm, 15 feet, and you fought that fish like a freaking pro, dude. That was not easy. That fish was all over the place. Trout Tricks worm, guys. That's a good 6-pounder. Howdy folks, I'm Kellogg and it is time for your Collins Lake and Folsom Lake fishing report. I'm up at Collins Lake right now. Been here for 2 days, getting ready to head home for a few days, and then I'll be back for some more guiding later in the week. Trout fishing is ranged from, I'm gonna say, slow to good this week. We didn't see that red hot white ohm action, and a couple days it was downright slow out here. That's not to say there's not plenty of fish in the lake. We had a 2,000-pound plant this week that included some trophy lightning trout. There are trout all over the lake. You see them on the graph. You see them deep. You see them shallow. I'm back in the trees now. Got a little breeze going. I pulled back here to get out of the breeze so you wouldn't hear it on the camera. And guess what? There's trout back here. I see them on the graph. So there are trout all over this lake. They're starting to come to life. We've had variable weather this week. We've had periods of wind. We've had some warm, still weather. We have a little cold front moving in now. We're going to get a little bit of rain up here. So the variations in weather has been putting those trout, kind of on their heels, so to speak. They want to go. They want things to stabilize, and this lake is absolutely going to go off when those trout come to life and decide it's time to get the feed bag on, because some of them have been in here since November. So enough said. They're planting it heavily. They have been planting it heavily. There's plenty of trout to be caught. How are you going to catch it? Well, let's start off with the bait bite. I didn't fish any bait this week, but still, I sound like a broken record. Tried and true. Green garlic, or in this case, rainbow garlic PowerBait, fished off the bottom on a 20-inch leader in 20 feet of water or less. That is absolutely positively a winning combination right there. Now, if you want to make it 30 or 40% more effective, spike it with my power powder. It makes the bait better. So if you were to go out and just fish the plain power bait, maybe you'd catch 6 or 7 fish. If you went with the power powder, maybe you'd catch 9 or 10 fish. It is a significant difference. I personally would not be without it when I go out to fish power bait at Collins Lake and elsewhere. It's just a great bait enhancer. Enough said about that. I know you guys want to hear about trolling. We're going to talk about trolling. Got fish on a variety of different offerings this week, with fish ranging up to about 6.5, 7 pounds. I was using some specific things that were working really well and some things that were working for just a fish or two. Let me go through them with you right now. I've actually got the stuff rigged up here that I was using to catch fish on today. My number one combo this week continued to be a 6-inch pink fisheye dodger with probably a 16-inch leader trailing a threaded night crawler on a slow death hook, teamed with a pink garlic power egg, and I am slathering that rig all over with my trigger scent. That has been my number one rig. I'm trolling that anywhere from about 6 to 12 feet deep. Not all the strikes are rip-roaring strikes. They come in, they start playing with that worm, I work the rod a little bit, fish on, end of story. You got them. Seems like every time Ron catches a fish, I don't turn the camera on, so he just got this one. That's a 6-inch blade, and I did my trick with that one and got him to swallow it. I'll show you what the trick is in a second, but I wanted to get Ron on the camera here. I've been fishing with Ron forever.
Pink.
It's all about the pink. So I want to show you what I did on that fish. You could do this anytime you're fishing a worm, and I found this to be real effective. It's going to be a little wonky. I'm going to kind of turn the camera down on the rod here and kind of describe what happens. A lot of these fish are tentative, so they'll come in and they'll just hit the worm real lightly, one timer, maybe twice, maybe give it a tug, and then they go away. Sometimes if you keep on trolling, they will come back and get it, but a lot of times if you don't do anything, they'll just peel off and go away. So let me crane the camera down at the rod here. So check it out. Let's say I got this, obviously it would be in the rod holder, but let's say I got a little bite like that. What I like to do is I'll slide the rod out of the rod holder and I'll kind of sweep it back and I'll move it forward. I'll put it back and I'll move it forward. As soon as I feel that fish bite again, I'll give him slack line. I got a kayak. Almost always, when that fish comes back and hits it when you're manipulating it, if you give him slack line, he'll swallow the worm. Because I think what's happening, obviously, I'm not down there, but I think what's happening is he's right there following it, and all of a sudden, the worm crowds up in his face. He's already tasted it. He knows it's meat. So he just sucks that worm in, down it goes, and that last fish was hooked. Wait, I had to remove the hook like I did with PowerBait. I had to go in through the gill because he had totally swallowed it. So that's effective. If you're trolling worms, if you're in the kayak, you can do that with the pedals. You don't even need to touch the rod. But if you're using lead core on the boat, can't do it on a downrigger. But if you're doing it with the lead core, you slide that rod out, give it a little manipulation, and you can turn a lot of drive-bys into hooked and landed fish that way. But you probably have to keep them because you're going to hook them real deep. Now, a variation of that combo that's been working pretty darn well has been a 4-inch pink fisheye dodger. Got a shorter leader on there. I'm tipping that with a slow death hook with a threaded crawler, but I am running one of my mini turbos with that, the small turbos. And sometimes I'm running that turbo in pink. You see the theme here? Pink. Sometimes I'm running that pink turbo near the worm. Sometimes I'm running it about halfway between the worm and the dodger. Been playing with that. It doesn't seem to make a ton of difference. I feel more comfortable when I have it down near the worm. But this has accounted for some strikes, but not as many strikes as the worm and power egg combo. But definitely, if you're pulling 2 rods, you want to experiment a little bit, definitely worth pulling. I'm thinking alternative offerings to that would certainly be something like a blade and a wedding ring. You know, it's just a spinner. So that is working. Hey guys, we're at Folsom Lake and we're actually on pretty exciting action. We just had pretty much a triple hookup, but there's been a few small fish in the mix. But Richard's hooked up here. He's trolling a 4-inch pink fisheye dodger. Oh, that's a nicer fish. Whoa. I don't have to tell you what he was biting on. I'll show you. So there's the fish. I'm going to put him in the fish box. So here's what we got that fish on. 4-inch pink fisheye right there. Probably, I'm guessing 14-inch leader, maybe 15 inches, something like that. Mini turbo right there. Give it a little vibration. Pink. They're digging pink right now. Slow death hook. Got the worm down there. I got to put a new worm on. This one's kind of chewed up. But what I'm doing is pushing that worm down there like that. I'm just easing that. I got a bobber stop right here. So mini turbo, a little bead to act as a bearing. And there's my bobber stop. So what I do once I got the worm in place is I slide the bobber stop down. That's a good bobber stop. There we go. So I slide that bobber stop down till that turbo is right off the nose of the worm. And just got a nice fish on that. Hopefully we'll get some more working. I had been doing pretty darn well on my pink trigger minnows, but that changed today. I couldn't get them to go on a pink trigger minnow, and I had been playing around with a small white tube fly, just like that, fishing that just under the surface with a small trolling weight attached. Now, when I started pulling fish on that white fly, I thought, well, maybe I should try some sort of soft plastic in white. So I took my folks in for a bathroom break today, a little restroom time. When I came back out, I rigged up one of my lead core rods, this one right here, with a white Trout Tricks worm. And man, we weren't trolling for 20 minutes. Massive takedown. And that was the fish that was 6 to 7 pounds. So I rigged up a second rod also with the white worm. And we continued to have action on that white worm for the rest of the day. You know, I was fishing this a little bit deeper. I'm going to say I was 10 to about 17 feet deep. I was right at 10 feet deep, 2 colors when that big fish hit. So those have been the most effective combinations for me. The pink blades, threaded crawlers, teamed with that garlic pink power egg, that's been working well, or teamed the 4-inch Dodger with that pink mini turbo, that's been working. Small white flies just under the surface have been hooking fish. Some of those fish are a smaller grade of fish. The DFW came up here maybe a week or more ago and planted some, you know, standard sized government trout. Been catching a lot of those just subsurface on that white fly. But hey, been letting most of them go, but they're still fun to catch, right? And that white worm came on strong. Would I still run the pink minnow? Absolutely. I caught some really nice fish a few days ago on that pink minnow. So you got to play with it. You got to play with colors. They're a little fickle right now, but the soft plastics and the night crawler stuff, it's definitely paying the bills right now. The fish are still a little tentative. They like those soft plastics because they hold a lot of scent and they feel real. And obviously the night crawler, well, it is real. That big blade fires them up. They come in, they check it out, they play around with it until, you know, they're on the hook and you got them. So that's pretty much the story here at Collins Lake. It's going to do nothing but get better. The lake is 100% full, and I am looking forward to an outstanding spring out here. If you want to go with me, you know where to go. Reach out to me. Check my Facebook. Check my website, fishkellkellogg.com. Email me, kellkellogg@yahoo.com. Enough said about that. Let's talk about Folsom. I'm going to grab some other gear, and I'll be right back. Nice king. There we go. We got him. Nice. Folsom Lake. Folsom Lake is fishing pretty darn good right now. Guys are catching salmon up to about 24 inches. That's a really nice salmon out there. Average salmon's probably 16 inches, something like that. And they're catching a fair number of rainbow trout too. The size on the rainbows has backed off a little bit this week, but I'm going to say they're a solid 14 to 16 inches. I got a couple buddies that are fishing out there. You want to be targeting both for the salmon and for the trout. You want to be targeting the lower ends of the arms, the main body, anywhere from the surface to about 40 feet deep. Some salmon are being caught on the ocean style salmon gear, the big 360 flashers, large hoochies tipped with meat, rigged anchovies, stuff like that. But by and large, more salmon are being caught on spoons, and that also gives you a good shot at the trout, which are also hitting spoons. Target speed this week, anywhere from 2.5 to 3 miles an hour. The sweet spot, 2.7. That's a good all-around speed. Stagger your lines, work the depths. If you're fishing with a partner, that really helps because you can run 4 rods. The obvious, suspects in the Speedy Shiner lineup are working. The brown trout is working. The chrome and blue is working. And the all-time favorite, the chartreuse and gold, is working. My trigger spoons are also working very well out there. The cop car is working well. That accounted for a 23-inch salmon this week. Buddy of mine caught that. And the purple silver that I came up with last year, and I got a lot of fish on this during the second half of the summer and into the fall at Folsom, and I thought, well, maybe it's the second half of the summer and fall kind of thing. But this has proven to be a real winner out there, and not a big surprise. It's very pond smeltish, dark over the top, light over the bottom, and because it's real silver, it just has that natural luster that fish really dial in on. If you're local and you're looking to get your fish on, Folsom is definitely a place that you want to visit because the trolling's pretty good. Last year at this time, I did really good out there on the kings and was catching the occasional trout. So I expect that to be pretty darn consistent right on through May or June at this point, barring any kind of crazy rainstorm that muddies up the water or significantly drops the water temperature. Things are going well out there. The Granite Bay launch facility is in full operation. You can launch at Folsom Point now, and you can also launch over at Brown. So you're not just restricted to one ramp. And as you know, those ramps over at Granite Bay, the big ramps, they're just a pleasure to launch off of. They're big, they're wide, nobody gets in, your way, especially when it's cooler like this and you're just dealing with, some trout guys and some bass guys out there. Spring fishing season is beckoning. Things are changing here in Northern California. The storms seem to be, losing magnitude at this point. We've got some rain coming in now, but it's not going to amount to much. We've got a little more rain coming in on Thursday. It's not going to amount to much. So I think the outlook for spring fishing here across the North State is really, really good. The lakes are up. The fish are there. We just need some stability to get those fish going, to get them in that feeding mode, and we're all going to be out there yelling, fish on. If you're looking for gear, you know where to go. CatchAmerica.com. Get you what you need, we'll ship it out fast, and you'll be out on the water hooked up before you know it. I'm Kellogg. I want to thank all you guys out there for all the support you've given me, the channel, the store, all that and more. We consider all you folks out there in Catch America land, to be family. You're part of our fishing family. And on behalf of everyone on the team, I just give you my sincerest thank you. I'll catch you next time right here on YouTube, guys. I'm Kellogg.